Pause the merchandising scene and look at the coloring book yogurt holds up. It is not a Spaceballs product. George Lucas banned all merchandise, and Brooks turned that restriction into the film's biggest joke. These are 15 hidden details you completely missed in Spaceballs. Number 15. The merchandising scene looks like a parade of Spaceballs branded products, but none of those props could legally exist. George Lucas made his approval conditional on one absolute restriction: no Spaceballs merchandise could be manufactured or sold under any circumstances. With nothing available to fill the shelves, the props department grabbed existing Transformers toys and placed Spaceballs labels over them. The coloring book yogurt holds up is a return to Cybertron Transformer sticker book. Pause that scene in high definition and look at the cover the moment he lifts it toward Lone Starr. Optimus Prime is visible through the label at the edges. Brooks confirmed on DVD commentary that Lucas's condition was the direct spark for writing the scene. Every prop in that sequence is a disguised toy from another franchise, entirely. Number 14. Dark Helmet's desert hover vehicle looks effortless on screen. The floating effect was a low-budget optical trick that falls apart under close inspection. The vehicle, a modified Volkswagen, was mounted on a platform and surrounded by mirrors angled to reflect the surrounding sand, creating the illusion that nothing solid was underneath it. Brooks chose to leave the imperfection in rather than correct it, which fits the film's self-aware tone perfectly. Pause any wide shot of the vehicle moving across the sand and look directly below it. The sand texture under the platform is slightly different from the area around it, and the mirror edges catch light at a visible angle, if you know where to look. Number 13. Every spaceflight sequence in Spaceballs was filmed against a blue screen stage, which was still a relatively new technology when production began in 1986. The crew developed a genuine concern, unfounded as it turned out, that prolonged exposure to the blue screen environment could damage eyesight or cause actors to faint. Actor Bill Pullman confirmed to The Hollywood Reporter in 2017 that the moment a director called cut, every actor on stage immediately put on sunglasses. The protocol was enforced throughout the entire production. Watch any space sequence carefully and notice the slightly strained quality in the cast's performances. They spent hours staring at a blank blue wall with nothing to react to. What reads on screen as comic delivery was produced under conditions the entire cast believed might be harming them. Number 12. The moment where Princess Vespa grabs a weapon and dismantles an entire squadron after discovering her hair has been shot is one of the film's biggest laugh moments. It was not written in the original screenplay. When Brooks offered actress Daphne Zuniga the role, she told him directly that she had not done much comedy and was uncertain she was right for it. Brooks told her that was actually a good thing because the best comedy comes from playing everything completely seriously. Zuniga then proposed a change. Instead of delivering a quick line and running, Vespa should completely lose composure over her hair. Watch Vespa's face the moment she sees the damage. That sudden transition from distress to action is entirely Zuniga's invention, not the original scripts. Number 11. The main Spaceballs sets were constructed on stage 15 at MGM's Culver City lot, a stage that carried a history the crew kept rediscovering throughout production. Brooks wrote in his memoir All About Me that production designer Terrence Marsh repeatedly reminded him they were working on the same stage where The Wizard of Oz was filmed in 1939. A Los Angeles Times production report from 1986 documented that crew members would occasionally find stray pieces of the original yellow brick road still lying across the floor between setups. Look at the sheer scale of the Spaceball One bridge set. That construction required a stage built for enormous Esther Williams swimming productions decades earlier. The same floor that once held Judy Garland and Ray Bolger was underneath the entire Spaceballs command deck. Number 10. Bill Pullman's performance as Lone Starr feels like the only version of the character that could have worked. He was the third choice after two far bigger names passed on the role. Both Tom Cruise and Tom Hanks declined, and neither has ever publicly explained why. When Brooks spotted Pullman performing in a Los Angeles theater production, he brought Anne Bancroft to evaluate him before making the offer. Pullman had exactly one film credit at that point. Watch his delivery in the opening cockpit scene, the relaxed confidence that makes Lone Starr instantly likable. That quality was also what made him affordable for the production budget. Pullman confirmed the casting history in a 2011 interview, and The Hollywood Reporter corroborated it in their 2017 retrospective on the film's 30th anniversary. Number 9. The widely repeated story that Pizza the Hutt's costume used artificially heated cheese that caused serious physical harm to the performer is false, and the real construction story is just as strange. Makeup artist Ken Diaz explained in a Mel magazine oral history that the flowing material on the costume was pancake batter mixed with yellow food coloring, because real cheese could not be controlled reliably on a film set and would have created an unpredictable mess. Watch the material dripping from the costume during the Pizza the Hutt scenes. It moves and splashes with the thin fluid quality of batter, not the heavy drape of melted cheese. The original soup performer Richard Caron refused to return for reshoots, and Rick Lazzarini stepped into the costume himself to finish the film. Number 8. The scene where Dark Helmet is discovered alone playing with action figures of himself and Lone Starr is one of the most beloved moments in the film. It was not in the screenplay. Brooks came up with the premise on the day of filming and handed actor Rick Moranis a set of hastily assembled prop dolls. Moranis later told The Hollywood Reporter he believed he was running a fever during the entire improvisation and was not performing at full capacity. Look closely at the dolls themselves. During the sequence, they are rough, unfinished prop pieces with no real detail because no Spaceballs merchandise could be manufactured under the Lucas agreement. The no merchandise restriction that created the yogurt scene also determined the deliberately crude look of the very toys Moranis performed with. Number 7. The diner scene where a creature emerges from a man's chest and performs a musical number is one of the most technically complex gags in the movie. Brooks sold it to actor John Hutt as a brief walk-on appearance. The two had worked together on The Elephant Man in 1980, which Brooks produced. When Hutt arrived on set and saw the full staging, including an industrial light and magic-built puppet performing a complete choreographed song, he understood what he had actually agreed to. Hutt later told the talks that you suddenly find yourself involved in a scene worth millions while receiving $2,000 and a nice hotel. Look at the space diner exterior just before the scene. A ship resembling the Millennium Falcon is visible in the parking lot background. Number 6. Yogurt is one of the most enthusiastic performances Brooks ever put on screen, and the entire character was filmed under significant physical distress. Brooks confirmed in a 2012 AV Club interview that the gold paint used on his face caused an allergic reaction that spread from his face and neck and eventually reached his eyes. To manage the reaction, all yogurt scenes were filmed out of sequence, so Brooks could recover between makeup applications. He also imposed a strict 1-hour makeup deadline and performed every scene on his knees, which caused constant pain. The lighting shifts noticeably between yogurt scenes because the out-of-sequence filming required each setup to be rebuilt independently. The performance looks seamless on screen, but the schedule behind it was entirely determined by a paint allergy. Number 5. The widespread claim that Industrial Light and Magic handled the visual effects for Spaceballs is not accurate. The bulk of the effects work was done by Apogee Inc., founded by Star Wars effects veteran John Dykstra. What Brooks actually did was hire Lucasfilm's post-production division, then called Sprocket Systems, and later known as Skywalker Sound, and paid them close to $5 million to handle all post-production work. Brooks explained his reasoning directly in interviews. You cannot be sued by a company that is on your payroll. By making Lucasfilm a paid production partner, he converted the potential legal threat into a contractual relationship. Watch the end credits when the Lucasfilm acknowledgement appears on screen. It was a documented financial arrangement designed to make any lawsuit against the film effectively impossible from the start. Number 4. Brooks plays 2 roles in Spaceballs, President Scroob and Yogurt. Running both performances in a single production required one logistical solution, which was to make sure the 2 characters never appear in the same scene. But the name Scroob holds something else. It is a direct anagram of Brooks, a self-aware authorial signature embedded inside the villain's name that the vast majority of viewers have never caught. Watch the first scene where Scroob appears in his presidential office. Look at his nameplate on the desk right as the camera settles on him. The name is visible in plain sight across the entire film. Brooks confirmed on DVD commentary that the anagram was entirely intentional, placed there as a quiet joke for anyone paying close enough attention to the credits or the desk. Number 3. Barf's ears react naturally throughout the film, drooping, perking, and flicking in response to the action around him. Actor John Candy wore a battery pack weighing between 30 and 40 pounds on his back throughout filming to power the suit's animatronic systems. Candy himself operated the tail through a concealed mechanism built into his paw. 2 separate off-camera technicians each controlled one ear remotely using independent control units. Effects designer Rick Lazzarini was eventually instructed by Brooks to dial back the ear activity because the movement was pulling focus away from the dialogue. Watch Barf's ears in his first appearance and then compare them to later scenes. The visible reduction in activity reflects a deliberate creative note given mid-production, and the difference is clear if you know to look for it. Number 2. Spaceballs cost approximately $22.7 million to produce and earned $38.1 million at the domestic box office, a modest return that critics read as underperformance. Critic Roger Ebert gave it 2.5 stars and wrote that the parody should have been made several years earlier. The home video story was entirely different. Brooks confirmed on the DVD bonus features that Spaceballs outperformed every other film in his entire catalog on VHS and DVD. Watch the end credits, which directly parody the slow theatrical scroll. That sequence was designed with exactly the home video audience in mind, the repeat viewer sitting close to a television screen who would catch details that disappeared at theatrical speed. The film was always going to find its real audience at home. Number 1. The merchandising scene, the rough prop dolls, the Transformers sticker book, the Lucasfilm post-production deal, and the Millennium Falcon parked outside the diner all originate from a single meeting between Brooks and filmmaker George Lucas. Lucas read the script, gave his personal approval, and set one condition: no action figures. Brooks agreed, then built the yogurt merchandising scene around the restriction, had the props department fill it with Transformers toys, paid Lucasfilm's post-production division to neutralize any legal risk, and quietly placed a ship resembling the Millennium Falcon in the background of the Space Diner parking lot. Watch the Space Diner exterior the moment it appears on screen, and look at the parking lot before the camera moves inside. The silhouette is right there, visible in every single viewing. Spaceballs hides its best secrets inside its biggest jokes. The Transformers coloring book, the Fever improvisation, the villain's name anagram, and the Millennium Falcon in a diner parking lot were always there. One handshake between Mel Brooks and George Lucas shaped nearly everything you see on screen. Which hidden detail surprised you most? And what film should we open next?